Booyah! Oh, where did this go? Here we go. Oh! Give it a minute for some people to get in here. There we go. All right, word is out. Hey, Dave Bennett, how you doing? Everybody see that Ed Asner died today? 91 years old. Man, that dude was old as dirt. He led a long and eventful life. I'm gonna drop everything here, of course. Oh, the lady in Denton. I promoted an evil lady. Not really. I promoted one event that she was involved in. And I think it was important for people to see that. So, it is what it is. But that's not what we're here for. So, you guys have been seeing my community posts about what the Sheriff's Department was posting about Darren Goforth, and I'm going to go over that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to explain something to you. So when I got arrested at Shell, the Sheriff's Department had really not been caught in any lies, and if they'd been caught, they never were called out about it. So what the police said I was doing, they said that I was heavily camouflaged and I was sneaking along the fence line in the bushes. That's what they came out and published publicly. Well, what screwed them up was my body cam footage. It showed me walking along the roadway curb. Now, as for the heavily camouflaged, they made it sound like I was in a ghillie suit or something. I was wearing an ACU shirt. That's it. Welcome to Texas. Half the people, when you see them walking around, are wearing some form of camouflage. It wasn't a big deal. It was cool outside, and I used it like a jacket. But see, they made it sound really bad for me, which is what they do. It was lies. And today I want to talk about a different... You're right, John, I did ask people to subscribe to her channel. If you liked what you saw over there, you should go and subscribe to her channel. If you didn't like it, and if you looked at what she does, you don't like it, don't subscribe. Okay? Hey, Lanley. So, in 2015, I believe it was, there was a deputy that got shot. I'm going to pull this up right here. Get rid of that. See if this one. Nope, that's not it. It's this one. Here we go. On August 28th of 2015, Deputy Darren Goforth stopped at a gas station to fuel his patrol car. A suspect walked up behind him and ambushed him, firing multiple shots at point-blank range. We will never forget the ultimate sacrifice made by blah, blah, blah. Now, here's the problem with this. There is some truth in this tweet, but by and large, most of it is not factually correct. He was on duty, but he was not where he was supposed to be. He was outside his district, and he was meeting his mistress. The dude's married, got kids, young kids, and he's cheating on his wife with this lady, for lack of a better term. And, the guy that shot him had a thing for the woman. And so he saw them together, came up behind the deputy, and bang. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. It is not. Absolutely do not support what occurred to this guy. Cheating on his wife or not cheating on his wife, that's between them. But you know, the sheriff's department makes it sound like he was this good, noble deputy out there on the job when he got ambushed and all that, and that is absolutely not true. Had he not been off with his mistress, this probably wouldn't have happened. As a matter of fact, I guarantee it wouldn't happen. But there's even more to the story. So this badge bunny that he was hooked up with, after he gets shot, after he gets ambushed and killed, a bunch of the detectives from the sheriff's department homicide division start nailing her. And one of them was stalking her. A third one was stalking her. And the case got so screwed up that the DA was saying that they weren't going to prosecute it. What they ended up doing, if I recall correctly, was giving him a plea bargain for life in prison instead of facing the death penalty. And that is what really happened. Now, they made a big deal when this happened. The sheriff at the time, Ron Hickman, popped on and, you know, was talking about the war on cops and all of that propaganda. And it absolutely was not true. This had nothing to do with any of that. Did this guy shoot him because he was a cop? Probably. But more to the point, it was because of who he was with. You know, that's what these cops do with these badge bunnies, is they just pass them around. They just pass them around. I had contact with a young, well, she's not a young woman anymore. She's in her 40s, who's married to a Harris County deputy. What got her started with cops was when she was 15, she took her parents' car, got in an accident. Sheriff's department shows up, and he bails her out of the mess, okay? And in appreciation for him bailing her out of the mess, because she didn't have a driver's license and stuff, he expected favors from her. And she did those favors. She spent a lot of time with that guy, and other deputies knew it and knew she was only 15 and never said a thing. This is the Harris County Sheriff's Department that I'm talking about. And eventually, you know, she got passed to another deputy and another and another and another and another, and she finally found one that would marry her. He married her. I think he was like 20 years older than her, something like that. Anyway, he marries her, and they have kids together, and then they get divorced, and he gets another one that's 20 years younger, and she's off, you know, whatever. Anyway, that's how I contacted her. But she showed me Facebook messages from other deputies talking about when she was 15, how they saw her with this deputy, and when she was introduced, they were told that she was underage, and they just felt terrible for not saying something. And yet, the deputy, that first deputy, is still a Harris County Sheriff's deputy. I think he's up for retirement right now. But, you know, he could still be prosecuted if she came forward and said something. But, you know, she's not going to do that. But we're getting off on a different subject. Hey, greetings from Germany. How you doing? Let's go back to the subject at hand. Sorry, I didn't mean to get distracted there. But so you see what they did with Goforth. Now they're making him out to be a hero, and yes, he lied. He was on duty when he was killed, but that's not a line of duty killing. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. That way his family gets all the benefits and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I believe there was a fundraiser for him that raised $250,000 to help the widow and the kids and stuff. And that's fine. That's fine. You know, I'm not mad about that. Like I said, the sheriff's department wants to portray this as being this you know, this guy's a hero. And if that's their hero, what does that tell you? Okay? What does that tell you? Now, we get to the other one here. Where'd my screen go? There we go. All right, let's get rid of that one and bring... Oops. My bad. Pushed the wrong button. Where is my... Here we go. All right, try that again. No, get out of there. Here we go. Now, this is Sergeant Steve Perez. Now, I had some interactions with Sergeant Perez on video, and I can tell you he did not fare very well. He came across as a bully, and all of that. And I'm not going to talk bad about the dead. I'm just going to leave it at that, just to say that it was unimpressive. If you want to see that video, it is part 2 of the Officer Orr incident in downtown Houston. He is one of the sergeants at the end of that video that were, telling the guys to glove up because they're gonna take me down. So Perez tried to go to work in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey when we had all the flooding. Now, Chief Acevedo at the time reported that Sergeant Perez had run into a bunch of water, the vehicle flooded, and he drowned. They're saying here he was in his patrol car. I'm not sure which, because the way Acevedo said it, it was his personal truck, not a patrol car. I suspect, I know some supervisors are issued take-home vehicles, and they're usually Tahoes, so maybe Acevedo, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say Acevedo misspoke, and that he was in his police-issued Tahoe. Got caught in floodwaters, vehicle floods, he ends up drowning. He was not at work, he was on his way to work, but they want him to be the hero. And my issue with this is that they make it sound like he was at work when he wasn't, and so I've got to check and see if his widow got all the benefits. I'm sure she did, and that's the point. Well, let's look out for our guy. We'll make it out like he was working at the time this happened, and then imagine you're on your way to work and you get in an accident and you're killed. Is that on duty or not? I don't think it is. And I think that when the police come out and say this stuff, it's misleading. And if they're misleading the public like this, it's wrong. It's wrong. Just tell the truth. I got no trouble with, saying, hey, this guy was on his way to work and, all of that. But what it says here, drowned after his patrol car was caught in the floodwaters. It doesn't say he was on his way to work. They make it sound like he was on duty, because they're so desperate to make these guys out to be fallen heroes, and they're not. They're guys doing a job that they are paid very well to do. Okay? And if an officer runs into a burning building to pull out some children and dies doing it, that's a hero. That is a hero, because that's not in his job description. That's not what he has to do. But just trying to come to work, there's nothing heroic about that. That's your job. It's what we pay you to do. And if you had a city vehicle, you should have taken better care of that city vehicle and equipment. And I know the union guys out there, the HPD union guys, who just absolutely despise me. And, oh, by the way, it's more people that have a hit out on me. Yeah, that's a HPD police union is out to get me. Well, join the line, get in line. But we pay somebody to do a job, and they're not even at their job when something happens to them. Knowing how the floodwaters were, all this dude had to do is pick up a phone and say, hey, I'm not coming to work. There's too much flooding, I can't get there. Who would have faulted him for that? Nobody. Conscious choice. Make a decision. The results are your responsibility. And then there'll be well, he's a first responder, he's got to come. No, he doesn't. No, he does not. All right, let me look at some comments here and see what. Never heard of a dude driving in a car and drowning in the street. It happens. It does happen around here. We have some low-lying areas. We're not that far above sea level, and when we get flooding, there are like underpasses and stuff that flood. But most people know where those are, and if you don't know where they are and you look and it looks, it's sketchy, a police officer who's been on the job 30 years should should for sure know you don't drive in high water. It's common sense around here. They preach it to us all the time. And yet, we see that, do as I say, not as I do thing. They do have a fund. Yeah, Paul. No, they'll try and catch me out in the street to kill me. There's something going on with HPD right now. I'll tell you about it here in a second. But how do I put this? Oh, you were asking about how much money they get. So, and you'll have to Google this to verify it, because they don't ever want to talk about it and tell you about it. If you're a police officer killed in the line of duty, his widow, in addition to whatever life insurance they have or whatever, gets $350,000 from the state of Texas. The 100 Club also gives them money. The union, will have some kind of fund for them as well. They will be well taken care of. And don't get me wrong, they should be, if they legitimately died in the line of duty doing something they're supposed to be doing, not meeting their girlfriend. If you're off meeting your girlfriend, I shouldn't say that. If you're off doing something you shouldn't be doing, should your kids be cut off? I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. And I'll tell you why. Because if that were the case, perhaps some of these officers would think before they go off doing stupid stuff. Just a thought. And the union guys, though, they're going to say, oh, no matter what, he deserves his money. His family should be taken care of. Well, who's taking care of the Tuttles? Who took care of the Tuttles' funeral expenses? Wasn't the Houston Police Department. Wasn't the Houston Police Officers Union. Because I'll tell you, I went around trying to collect money to give to the Tuttles family to help with burial expenses and expenses for the house. And I said, whatever I collect, I will match up to $5,000. That was my offer. Do you know how much I collected from Houston police officers, union members? Zero. Not one of them, and I even went to Acevedo and upper management, not one of them donated a nickel. Not one of them. So anyway, guys, that's it. I didn't mean to get on here and rant and